北艺中心终于落成了。当时它是台湾第一个，除了古根海台中古根海之外，第一个真正开国际标，然后最后启动工程的标案。古根海虽然最后有了它的标案，但是没有办法得到经费。北艺中心得到了经费，可是中间却因为营造厂的破产，中间一度延宕，然后现在终于开幕了。而开幕的时候，当时得标的设计师库哈斯和台湾联手的姚仁喜两个人非常高兴，这么多年，这个孩子终于诞生了。请看我们的特派记者曲佳的报道。
台北表演艺术中心走过14年曲折波澜，2022年8月7号落成。这是普利兹克奖得主、建筑大师库哈斯率领的 OMA 团队在台湾的第一件作品，坐落于大城中，常民生活意象内涵饱满的士林夜市，独特几何结构的建筑造型，成为全球化的明星建筑师回应在地化议题的经典范例。
Basically directly almost from our first visit. We came here, we were completely astonished by the energy and the intensity of the site, and basically very overwhelmed by the strength of Taipei's popular culture. And it is very exciting and actually rare for a major cultural institution to be in the heart of popular culture. So that was an important trigger. But not only the market, but also the nightlife. Your population is very active in the evening. There's statistics that Taiwanese sleep later than any other population in the world. That alone is very exciting if you are planning a theater. And looking out of the window, the context is very rich, but because there's not only this very intense urban life, but there's also nature, there's also mountains. That was particularly kind of exciting.
因此，这是一座完全依照所在位置的地理条件、风土民情量身打造的表演艺术中心。令人惊叹的反传统之举是库哈斯团队将1500席的大剧院，同为800席的蓝盒子多形式中剧场和球剧场，以近乎魔术方块式的有机组合交织，共同嵌入一个中央方形量体，由方形量体把舞台、后场和支援空间合并为单一而有效率的整体。
And this is the theater in Beijing with 3 separate theater components. And I have always been very critical of them because there's an auditorium and there's a full stage condition. There's a second auditorium in the full stage condition and a third auditorium. But between those auditoria and therefore between the technology that is necessary to create a stage, there's 0 interaction and 0 consolidation and therefore 0 value. What we did is kind of organize all the stage areas of the 3 theaters inside the cube in such a way that there is an interface and an interaction between every one of them.
库哈斯是2000年普利兹克奖得主，评审团盛赞他是兼具视野和实践力的建筑师，同时也是哲学家、实用主义者、理论家和预言家。每一项设计都有一个自由流动、民主的空间和功能组织，最终导向出一种前所未有的新建筑形式。作品不仅关于建筑，也关于理念。台北表演艺术中心再次落实库哈斯建筑思考的关键词：自由、民主、开放、流动，展现前人未见的建筑姿态与内在。
I think is an important feature is that basically the ground floor and the first floor are essentially free and accessible to anyone and can be used by anyone kind of for any reason. And so therefore they're an extension of the urban realm. another really unique thing is the fact that going through the building and giving access to visual access to every kind of single component of the building and every single activity of the building, whether it's rehearsal, making sets, being in a restaurant, or actually seeing a piece of theater.
库哈斯提到的这项特色是当时赢得净土的重要原因，以橘色光线识别的 Public Loop 公共参观回路贯穿剧院内部设备及制作空间，可以让所有人一窥后台风光的廊道。设计发想蕴含着社会经济学的思考。
The reason is that we live in a world everywhere which is increasingly gentrified. A kind of city is dividing in a kind of rich part and a kind of poorer part. At some point, even the kind of poorer part completely disappears and kind of needs to kind of find other places to go to. It's not only the population that separates, but also the activities that become, the range of activities becomes less and less extensive. So as an architect, you have to be very careful that you're not part of that process. You're looking for every possibility to avoid that kind of process of gentrification. And that is why we were so incredibly keen to be here, to do this, but also to stay here for 15 years and to remain involved for 15 years, because we saw that this is a unique, also for us, unique possibility of proving that gentrification is not a fate that is inevitable in every city.
在地执行的大园联合建筑师事务所负责人姚仁喜进一步阐述这座城市与建筑独特迷人之处。
Taipei is such a lovely city that people are informal, friendly, and we don't have classes. It cannot be put in other places on the earth because it's just so synchronized with Taipei's life, especially in Shilin, with the elevated MRT going through the night market, the people. This building is not intending to become an elite project for high art that normal people cannot come. It's not a palace, it's people's theater. And people can come in freely to the top, to every different level. I think this it's so amazing that this thing happens in Taipei. And that's why this building has been under the antenna of the world architectural profession, that everybody wants to see this thing complete.
从赢得净土、动工破土，国际媒体始终将焦点投射在这栋不论外在结构和内在肌理都自带锋芒的建筑上。Wallpaper 杂志2015年的年度设计奖将它评选为最佳建筑地点。时代杂志2021年将它列名世界最伟大的文化地标。CNN 形容它是重塑世界最令人期待的变革性建筑，但因为工程要求、营造商破产等因素，原本预期2015年试营运，延宕7年后才落成。开幕之后，英国《泰晤士报》盛赞这座亮眼的文化建筑是台北新的文化武器。《金融时报》评价它是连接文化与社区的桥梁。
I think architects are a very heroic profession, because they take care of things, and they take care of things no matter how long they take. I'm sure that you have never been involved in a 10-year project, and that if you were, you would run away screaming because you have better kind of things to do. We are taking kind of responsibility for what you see and what you live in, and therefore we take our time.
巨大的圆球形剧场，有人戏谑地形容它外观如同用2根筷子撑起的贡丸。大师说，这其实取法自最传统的剧场形式。
Actually, it's the most classical theatrical shape. The opera in Paris is exactly that. If you look at the opera in Paris, you see that there is a void inside, which is kind of more or less round. And so what we did is a subtle change. From being more or less round, we made it completely round. simply to give it a new freshness and a new identity. So it's not really a shape that we invented out of nowhere, but it's a kind of reinterpretation of a very classical, traditional form of theater.
台北表演艺术中心有一道前所未见的精巧布局，去除大剧院和蓝盒子中剧院之间的屏障，就可以连结成拥有100公尺舞台的超级大剧院。这也是令 OMA 主管合伙建筑师大卫希艾莱特最为惊叹的时刻。
Is when we stand or in the Grand Theater or in the Blue Box Theater while the super stage is open to see the sheer magnitude, but especially the length of theater production space. You see then people looking from both sides and people looking from the side stages to a performance that can only be performed here.
库哈斯认为，台北表演艺术中心毫无疑问的是他建筑生涯少数几个关键性建筑，每次巡礼其中都带给他不同的感受。与最多国际建筑大师联手的姚仁喜深以为傲这座建筑象征的意义，他势必创造属于未来的记忆，激发剧场人的灵光，发想出更多戏剧作品。这会是一座不仅对台北、台湾，也对世界有所启发的时代性地景。
感谢你收看今天文茜世周报、文茜世界财经周报，我们下礼拜见，拜拜。